There was one player in NBA history who could destroy your confidence without saying a single word, while legends like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant used verbal warfare to dominate opponents. Tim Duncan perfected something far more devastating: psychological torture through kindness and silence. The stories you're about to hear will change how you think about mental games in basketball forever. Kevin Garnett was known as one of the most intense, intimidating trash talkers the league has ever seen. He could get inside anyone's head and make them crumble under pressure. But there was one player who left even KG completely frustrated and powerless. During his appearance on All the Smoke podcast, Garnett admitted something that shocked basketball fans everywhere. When asked about players who could back up their trash talk, his answer wasn't who you'd expect.
Believe it or not, y'all, Tim Duncan. Timmy would smile at you. Timmy would be killing you with smiles.
Garnett went on to describe how Duncan would never get rattled, never lose his composure, no matter how much you tried to provoke him.
You might be cussing him out 100 miles an hour. He might sit there and laugh at you, which would piss you off even more.
This wasn't just Garnett's experience. Multiple NBA players have shared similar stories about facing Duncan, and they all paint the same picture of a man who had mastered the art of psychological warfare without ever raising his voice or losing his cool. DeMarcus Cousins learned this lesson the hard way during his rookie season. Fresh into the league and full of confidence, Cousins thought he could intimidate the aging veteran. He was having one of his first successful games against Duncan, hitting shots and playing well. In his young, cocky mindset, he decided it was time to let Duncan know about it. "So my young, dumb ass decides to go talk to Timmy," Cousins recalled. "I remember backpedaling down court, and Timmy looked up at me. He just looked at me." What happened next would haunt Cousins for the rest of that game. Duncan didn't say a word. He just stared at Cousins with a look that seemed to say three things. Number one, who are you? Number two, why are you talking to me? And number three, just shut up. But the real psychological warfare was just beginning. Duncan's response wasn't anger or heated words back. Instead, he did something far more devastating. He started laughing to himself as he jogged down the court. That quiet chuckle was more intimidating than any screaming match could have been. The fourth quarter arrived and Duncan unleashed hell. He scored 16 straight points, methodically destroying Cousins and the entire opposing team. But here's where Duncan's genius really showed. After every basket, every dominant play, he would give Cousins a condescending pat on the back or shoulder. "Good job, big fella," Duncan would say, with that same smile that had driven KG crazy for years. Cousins described it as the most frustrating experience of his career. "I'm like, this motherfucker is ready to square off, you feel me?" What really, really, really pissed me off was when the trash talk wasn't affecting him. The psychological damage was complete. Cousins had gotten so focused on trying to rattle Duncan that he forgot about his own game, allowing one of the greatest power forwards in history to take over completely. This wasn't an isolated incident. Player after player tells similar stories about Duncan's unique approach to mental warfare. Instead of engaging in traditional trash talk, Duncan would compliment opponents after they made good plays, but in a way that felt more condescending than any insult. "Good rebound," he'd say with a pat on the back, leaving players wishing he had just called them names instead. One anonymous player summed it up perfectly. "I would rather that's meaner. People would not see him verbally saying stuff because he wasn't talking sentences to me. He would hit you with phrases. Just call me a bitch or something, man. Don't try to compliment me." Even Duncan's own coach, Greg Popovich, couldn't crack that legendary composure. Pop was notorious for his intense, often harsh criticism of players during games. He would scream at Duncan in front of everyone, cursing him out for missed rebounds or defensive lapses. Any other player might have fired back or at least shown some emotional reaction. Duncan's response? "Thanks for the motivation, Pop. Thanks for the support, Pop." Then he'd turn away with his eyes rolled up, and both he and Popovich would start laughing. This dynamic taught other players on the team an important lesson about taking criticism and staying composed under pressure. The strategic brilliance of Duncan's approach becomes clear when you understand what he was really doing. Traditional trash talkers try to get opponents angry or frustrated, but anger can sometimes fuel better performance. Duncan did something far more effective. He made opponents feel small and insignificant without ever saying anything truly aggressive. His silence and composure sent a message that was more powerful than any words. You're not worth getting upset over. You're not on my level. Your attempts to intimidate me are so insignificant that I find them amusing. This psychological approach was devastatingly effective because it attacked players' egos in a way that was almost impossible to counter. Players who tried to escalate would only end up looking foolish, getting themselves worked up, while Duncan remained calm and collected. Those who tried to match his composure often found themselves overthinking their own games, distracted by trying to figure out how to crack the code of Tim Duncan's mind. The long-term impact of Duncan's psychological approach extended far beyond individual games. Young players like Cousins learned valuable lessons about composure and mental toughness. It made me a better player. It made me coachable, Cousins admitted years later. But at first, as soon as Pop come at me, I was like, Nan, you better get the out of my face. But I see him going off on Tim, and I gotta be able to take it. Duncan's teammates loved him not just for his basketball skills, but for his ability to handle pressure and criticism with grace. His composure became infectious, creating a culture of mental toughness that helped the San Antonio Spurs win 5 championships over nearly 2 decades. Other players eventually learned to adjust their approaches when facing Duncan. They realized that trying to get under his skin was futile and often counterproductive. Instead of wasting energy on psychological games that wouldn't work, they learned to focus purely on basketball fundamentals and execution. The legacy of Tim Duncan's silent psychological warfare continues to influence players today. In an era where social media drama and public feuds dominate headlines, Duncan's approach serves as a reminder that sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. His ability to stay composed under pressure, turn criticism into motivation, and use kindness as a weapon created a blueprint for mental toughness that transcends basketball. What made Duncan truly terrifying wasn't his physical dominance or his technical skills. It was his ability to remain completely unaffected by external pressure while simultaneously applying psychological pressure to opponents in the most subtle, devastating way possible. He proved that you don't need to be the loudest person in the room to be the most intimidating. Sometimes, the quietest players are the ones you should fear the most.